Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with the last of these Limit Break decks that need to be featured and the ones that I managed to complete. Next set, I will not be featuring decks as extensively unless I pull things like crazy, because in terms of crafting stuff, I only have materials prepared for Lukier, and then everything else will depend on how much I pull, but I don't think I need to pull the next set too much, simply because I already prepared for 3 Lukiers to be crafted, so we'll see how things go. But before we begin today's video, I just wanted to mention that we have some new cool sub badges for those of you that are both Twitch subs as well as YouTube channel members. So if you wanted more incentive to become one, then you can have these cool badges that will change depending on how long you've been a member for. So the ones you see on the screen right now are for Twitch, and then on YouTube, the time is basically determined by the normal one is when you're a new member. After 1 month, you get the Shimon glasses. After 2 months, you get the Kamina glasses. After 6 months, you get the time skip Shimon glasses. After a year, you get the green one. And then after 2 years of being a channel member, you get the Tengen Toppa one. So these are Gurren Lagann themed, as it should be on this channel. Anyone that has been watching this channel for a while will know that Gurren Lagann is my favorite thing ever, and therefore, of course, the channel has to be themed after that. So just a little mini announcement I wanted to say at the beginning, and then of course, our general rule of thumb is that on the first day of each month, on the first video of each month, we tend to go through the list of channel members, and there has been quite a few new ones as well. So we're going to be getting into today's video, which is going to be looking at Great Nature. I do have 15 stamina, and I'm always itchy to just like use it up, but we're going to just roll with it. So I have to actually scroll down for my Great Nature list. And so here it is. So I'm gonna walk you guys through it. I was lucky enough to actually pull myself, and I crafted, I think, 1 of these Leopolds, maybe 2, I'm not sure. But I was lucky enough to pull basically everything for the deck, including like the Loxes and everything else. So we're gonna go through the deck as it is, but as you'll notice, it's kind of like an incomplete right chain. It's the first time I play a deck like this. So the key card of the deck is the School Hunter Leopald. So he has 2 effects. First one is Counterblast 1 on Limit Break 4, and then for that turn you give one of your rearguards the following ability, that when it is retired at the end phase, then you can bring it back to that exact same rearguard circle from the drop zone. So it's pretty good basically if you were to give, because a lot of what Great Nature is based on is using skills that give power to your other rearguards that then at the end of turn get retired in exchange, and sometimes you draw cards, sometimes you don't. And so for that reason, it's nice to have this ability to bring them back in case, you want to like put it on your grade 2s and stuff, and then, you want to bring them back for the intercept. So it's a pretty useful ability. And then his second skill got a little buff, so now it's Vanguard and Rearguard Circle skill. When he attacks, for that turn, give one of your other rearguards plus 4,000 power, and then at the end of that turn, retire that unit. So of course you can use multiple skills to stack 4,000 on the same unit, and it will still be retired just once, but that is very nice because you can basically use this on Vanguard Circle and Rearguard Circle to dish out those buffs, and basically like on just 2 of his 4k buffs can actually help to push up a column pretty well, and hit for like 20k, 22k, 23k, etc. So it's pretty good for that reason, and like it can turn some of your weaker columns into really, really strong ones, so that's also very good. Then the other grade 3 we run is the Locks. So if you have the grade 2 Locks in the Soul, he gets plus 1k permanently. And his other skill is Counterblast 1 and Persona Blast, which means to discard a copy of Locks himself. And for that turn, give one of your rearguards plus 4,000 power and plus 1 critical. At the end of that turn, retire that unit. Also, my cat just sneezed, probably being aware of the fact that I'm talking about other animals here. But so this ability is pretty good because you do have 1 restander in the deck that can restand your other rearguards, and so basically you can give something else crit and basically just like restand them to give more pressure, and so it's pretty good for that reason. Or you can like give the extra crit to the restander, and then you basically like hit with like a normal rearguard for 1 damage, and then you hit with a restander for 2, and then you restand something, you can still hit if you like check triggers, or if you have enough extra power bonuses, from Locks, from Leopald, from the other power bonus cards. So Locks is pretty good, but Locks' own skill isn't the only reason why he's so good, because the grade 2 is what helps push him. So the grade 2's first skill is if you have a grade 1 Locks under him in the Soul, then he gets plus 1k permanently, so we're not going to be doing that because we don't run the grade 1 Locks. But his second skill is when your grade 3 Locks rides on top of him, for that turn, you choose 2 of your rearguards and give them plus 4,000 power. At the end of that turn, for each unit that you chose for this ability, you draw one and retire those units. So that's a really nice skill because it basically lets you filter and draw into more cards. And basically Great Nature is all about just like filtering, drawing to more cards, powering up, and stuff like that. So it's really, really good. What you basically have to do is when you ride your grade 2, you need to call some stuff in the back. Whether it's grade 1s or sometimes even grade 2s, you can call them in the back and then essentially just power them up when you ride your grade 3 next turn. So that's really important to keep that in mind. So that is how this Lux engine works, so that's why we run only the grade 2 and the grade 3. The grade 1 does the same thing, but usually don't have anything to, like, if you're lucky you have grade 1s, but then if you don't call anything, so it's a wasted skill. So it's kind of a harsh thing to waste 4 grade 1 slots and a starter slot just for that, so that's why we don't run it. Then I did mention the restander, so this is the dumbbell kangaroo. He actually punches with dumbbells, which is pretty crazy. So Vanguard Rearguard Circle, when its attack hits a Vanguard, you make counterblast 2 to stand one of your other rearguards. So it's the exact same as Lion Heat, which is pretty good. So like I said, it works pretty well with locks, but it works pretty well with everything, honestly, due to that power up. And then our last grade 3 that we have space for is the Magnet Crocodile. So this is when he attacks Vanguard, he gets plus 2k power, so hits for against MLB, and with the boosts, like even the smallest boost like Hamske or the Stamp Otter, you get that 18k column, which is pretty good. Alright, so going over more of the grade 2s, we have 4 of the Binoculars Tiger. This is a really good card. This was a triple rare if I remember correctly, and so now it's only a rare. And so his skill is Vanguard and Rearguard Circle. When he attacks for that turn, one of your other rearguards gets plus 4k, and then at the end of that turn, you retire it. So it's the exact same skill as Leopald's, but of course on a 9k grade 2 body, which has intercept, so it's also pretty good. And then I play one of Lamp Camel because I only have space for one. When his attack hits anything, counterblast 2 to draw a card. We can afford to do that because his deck doesn't actually counterblast much. The only counterblast is actually the Kangaroo and the Locks, and that's actually it. Nothing else counterblasts in this deck, so it's pretty cheap for that reason. And then finally, the key grade 2 in my opinion is the Compass Lion. He doesn't actually do much, he's just an 11k without restraint, and basically his skill is at the end of your turn, you have to choose one of your rearguards and retire it. Now this card has some really interesting timings, whereas like you need to be really careful with it, because at the end of turn when you need to do your retires for your other effects, you should always start with him, because he'll basically retire something else that you were going to retire anyway, and then all the other on-retire effects will proc. But if you do the retire from the other effects first, he will still go end phase, okay, retire one more please. So basically always start with him. The only thing you need to be careful about is retiring him himself, because if you retire him himself and then bring it back with the Leopold's Limit Break 4, he will actually ask you to retire one more card, because he exists as a unit. This might be a bit complicated for people that just started with 0, but basically the way that Vanguard works is that a unit's skill exists as its like entity on the board. So like if you had like Compass Lion at once, you know, and then end phase, you activated its skill to retire something, and then Leopold's skill came in to, like, let's say, retire him, and then Leopold's Great Limit Break 4 came in to bring him back, and now the Leopold that you brought back is treated as a new unit, so his effect activates once again, so you have to retire a second unit. So then you don't want to do that, because then like you probably already retired what you wanted to, so you need to be careful. Make sure you're careful when using Compass Lion, but the 11k is nothing to scoff at. It's really, really good, and honestly, just I love it. Then honestly, the grade 1s, I wish there was more space in this deck, because you kind of want to play like 4 duck pills and things like that, or more than one, but there really isn't space, especially when you run the Hamskes. So Hamske got a buff. I believe this was counterblast 1 back, you know, as a physical card. So his skill is, when he's retired during the end phase, you can search your deck for 2 grade 1 Hamskes and add them to your hand. So basically you retire 1, grab 2. And so this isn't just good for just getting more grade 1s into your hand, obviously that's nice, but the best part of this is just the deck filtering. Like, you have a pretty small deck, you know, it's like 40 cards, and being able to just grab grade 1s out of there is pretty good, because as you'll remember, some of these effects that we have in Great Nature actually draw you extra cards. So the order of skills is also pretty important, because by using Hamske, you can first filter out to make sure you draw the Hamskes, and then use your actual draw effects to draw the top cards of your deck, so that way you don't draw the Hamskes, you know, and draw into more useful cards, like whether it's, you know, Persona Blasts for the locks, or whether it's, you know, the Kangaroo for the restands, or this, you know, etc. So it's important to keep that in mind. Then the card that is really good in early Great Nature and then kind of falls off over the years is the Stamp Otter. So his skill is really simple. I just kind of got overwhelmed with language right there. He cannot be retired by abilities. So whether it's your abilities or your opponent's abilities, he simply cannot be retired. So when all these Great Nature cards say, you know, at the end of turn retire it, he will not be retired. Our beloved Otter will stay on the board, and that's pretty good. So you can also, you know, retire him with the Compass Lion, retire him for the Leopald skill. You put a lot of your power buffs on him so he doesn't get retired. So usually you put your power buffs either on grade 2s that you're going to restand with the Kangaroo, or you put them on the Hamsuke that you're going to retire to grab more Hamsukes, or you're going to put it otherwise on the Otter. And then finally, the most iconic Great Nature card, like the one that reached Gize level, is the Coiling Duckbill. So unfortunately, don't have space to play more. I really wish there was. Maybe at some point when we stop using the Otters or maybe Hamsuke drops, we're going to use more of the Duckbills. But Duckbill's skill is, when he's placed during your main phase on a rearguard circle, for that turn you can give one of your other rearguards the skill, which is during your end phase, if this unit is retired, you draw 1. So basically you give that to a unit that you're going to retire anyway, and then you get to basically just draw an extra card. So it helps you dig through your deck, and that's really good. And then the same skill is shared by the Blackboard Ohm, I think this is called. And so he has Forerunner, and his skill is rearguard circle, put him into your soul, and then give one of your other units the skill that when they're retired during the end phase, draw cards. So you often can like use this skill to like put it on something that's going to be retired for like the Lux like ride skill and things like that. So we've taken quite a bit of time to explain the deck, so now let's jump into it. I played this deck on stream quite a lot. I actually really enjoy it. Great Nature is a lot of fun. There are some good players from the English player base that play the Japanese server that are really good at Great Nature as well, and so I've kind of gotten some assistance. Or we're playing a mirror match actually, that's really interesting. So it's going to be really kind of to show who's the better Great Nature player here, but it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this goes. I am using these cool Pelennor sleeves. This opening hand isn't bad actually. I think I'm gonna put it like this. Put back those Leopolds. I do run stands. I didn't talk about the trigger lineup too much, but the reason why stands are run is basically because you power up your units and you can build up a lot of momentum, and then as you build them up, you get to restand them. And so it looks like this is a VP farmer, so we're just gonna skip this game and go to the next one. Alright, we're going to be getting into this game against Narukami. I think Narukami matchup is pretty okay for myself as a Great Nature player. I think it's going to depend on how we draw. So this opening hand is pretty okay actually. We can do an early filter. What we can do is write this, second turn write this, power up, Hamsuke probably swing in the rear or something, and then get to filter. So I think I'm going to just put back the heal, and then, just get the heal back. Okay, I see. Well, if you insist that I use the heal, I guess I will. But yeah, the nice thing is that we can do some interesting things. I don't want to lose my starter. A lot of Narakamis are running her these days, which is just when you retire something due to your ability on your opponent's board, then she gains plus 3k, so she can kind of build up a lot of power pretty easily. I think I can ride the Hamsuke here. It's kind of dead in hand for now. I'm probably going to pass, actually, because I don't want to lose a starter. I want to use it next turn instead. So I'm just going to pass here because Narukami will definitely take the chance to destroy any starter they can. Like, a lot of Narukami players, they will just nuke any starter, even if it's not specifically a good one. But, like, the logic is that any deck running a specific starter runs it for some reason, so chances are, they kind of have to. Alright, so we check a draw, one of our 5 draws actually, not few. We can actually push damage a little bit this turn, I think, because what we could do is write this is 11k, and then make like a 15k line with Hamsuke, and then only thing is that it doesn't power up enough to hit over defensive, so it's going to be a question mark there. Yeah, it's pretty good because then we can retire the Hamsuke for the locks, not the locks, the Compass Lion effect, so it's pretty okay. So basically we're going to go like this, and go like this, and now this way we don't lose our starter, we just kind of put this here. So now when Hamsuke gets retired, we draw an extra card, which is pretty good, and we can just go battle. So this will go like this. We check a nothing, that's okay. Definitely didn't want to draw that Hamsuke, so that's pretty good. So this isn't going to hit, actually. Pretty sad. But I mean, I'm still going to attack with it, just to power up and draw. So this doesn't hit, but basically the reason for doing this is so that the Hamsuke gets retired at the end phase. First things first, as I said, always use Compass Lion's effect to pop this, so now it gets popped. And then he's gonna use the other effect. So first, this will be the effect to search 2 Hamsuke. So like I said, always do that one first to filter out the Hamsukes, and then do the draw effects like the starter. So now we get to draw 1 card. Drew into the heal, but it's okay. But as you can see, we end turn 2 with a 8-card hand. It's pretty good, considering we got to actually commit some units to board, do some filtering, you know, a lot of good stuff. He's gonna ride into the Goku clone. I should actually remember his name. This is the Rampurugan Dragon. Rampulgun Dragon? Rampulgun Dragon? Some kind of gun dragon. Anyway, so basically, when he drive checks grade 3, you retire one of your opponents grade 1 or less. This card is actually pretty good too. This is like a really good budget variant for Narukami. It has a hit Mega Blast that's sold by 6, counter blast 4. For that turn, he gains the following ability. All of your units, when they attack, for that battle, they gain plus 3k plus 1 crit. It's a pretty nasty Mega Blast, so it's definitely quite punishing. I like this. The Compass Lion's 11k base just means that rears like this just don't even hit. That's the best part about it. So we draw into our 10th card. We are going to ride the Compass Lion here because, I mean, not the Compass Lion, the Leopald, because Locks doesn't really do anything anymore here, and we need to be careful with our Counter Blast management and all that stuff, and the 11k base definitely helps a ton. So now, we're going to be able to essentially... I have to call down our boosters pretty aggressively here, simply because I do want everything to hit, so that's pretty important for that reason. But so here, the interesting thing is that I essentially need to go for a as low of a risk play as possible. So I think here we're going to swing it rear, and essentially we're going to power up, let's see, we can power up the Ham, but then he gets retired and we lose him. But the thing is that if my opponent now will check a defensive on Van because it will attack with this first, right? So here we're going to attack like this. Alright. Okay, so he whiffs a heal. So now I'm like, I probably don't want to use the restand and don't want to waste my counter blast, so I'm just going to not do it. And then here we're just going to swing. Of course I could have still stood. We're just going to put the power on here. Like, I could have still stood. Well, I mean, okay, we just get a stand trigger. That works out pretty well. I'm just going to stand this, actually. Of course, if I get double stand, it's going to be pretty sad, but, I mean, even if it's double stand, it's pretty okay. So, yeah. We get a PG too. So this will not hit Vanguard, which is okay. I don't want to give him Limerick 4 just yet. Ooh, a crit as well on Vermilion. That's interesting trigger lineup. Runs both draws and crits. But we just want to take out his rears for now. And just leave it at that. So now this Hamsuke is going to get retired. And that's okay, because I mean I needed to do that simply because I needed to make a good column with the Vanguard row, simply because otherwise we wouldn't have been able to hit over that defensive trigger that he got. So that's really, really important, just essential, honestly. So let's take a look. Okay, he's going to main phase, does not re-ride. I'm assuming he is holding on to some grade 3 though. I feel like he should be. Yeah, he's holding on to the Mega Blast. Wow, it was just all grade 3s in his hand. It's like grade 3 festival. So maybe next turn we could try to go for a kill turn and see how that goes. So now, this is a pretty interesting move. This gets plus 3k every time something is retired. So basically when he hits with this, he can pop my Hamsuke. He can't actually pop anything else. So he will pop the Hamsuke whether he drive checks a grade 3 or uses the Counter Blast 1. There's a PG, that's important information. Okay, so that's 1 PG down. So it means he could have 2 in hand. So we're going to check 1. And he gets to use that effect to basically target this. If he targets the Stamp Otter, it's going to be pretty funny because it can't be retired by abilities. So he has to target the Hamsuke, and I really don't mind that, actually. So that would work out pretty well. But let's see if he does. Let's see if he chooses to do it. He does not, actually. That's interesting. But he's going to just take out my rears. That's definitely the right move. That's what you want to be doing as a Narukami player. Alright. Ooh, we draw the locks. Ooh, you tempt me so much. You really do tempt me here. Huh. Thing is that my columns don't really hit for anything special. Because what I can do here is... So I can ride the locks, use the skill to give a column with the kangaroo the extra power and make it 20k. And then swing, basically swing with Van and then swing with that column for crit and game. and then maybe this Hamsuke will do something, because he's going to get retired anyway. I'm going to try that, actually. It seems pretty good, especially because he choked us from the Counter Blast, so I kind of want to pay him back for that. Alright, so we're going to keep that in the back, and then here we can use this effect to give the extra power and crit to the Kangaroo. He will be retired, but that's okay. So I quite like this. It's going to be 20k column with a crit, and you know, we're a bit behind on the draw skills, but we're pretty okay, I think. Oh, that Lamp Camel would be nice, but it's okay. We're going to put him to 4 damage here. Let's see if he checks the trigger. He does not. That's pretty good, so we still need this. 20k. Does he have a PG? He does not. Kangaroo might actually seal the deal. Let's see, there's a grade 2, and... Alright, so the Locks play actually won us the game. That free static critical from the, you know, just from calling it out. That is definitely very, very good. Absolutely loving it. So, yeah, Locks, like I said, is a good card. Absolutely a good card. But that was a pretty fast game, so we're going to go into another one and see what we can do here. Alright, so we're going to be playing against Narukami. No, not Narukami. We're going to be playing against Nova Grappler. So, let's take a look. The wonderful Morikawa sleeves as well. This hand's okay. I think I want to put back both. Hopefully draw into another grade 1. This will be a bit risky actually, but we're probably going to draw into something that we can pop. We drew another Locks, but that's okay. No hard feelings. We're going to go first. And it's a Riser matchup. Risers are pretty scary even now. Ooh! I like that a lot. I do like that a lot. So let's call this down. And so now we kind of want to draw into like a Hamsuke or an Otter or something like that that we can pop off of the Compass Lion. That would be pretty good. Alright, he rides the Burst Riser. Yeah, Risers are like... Risers are special, you know? Like, Risers came out in the second set all the way back in January, actually, in the Japanese meta. And essentially has been a viable deck ever since. Like, you can genuinely bring it to ranked for all those months. You never had to pick up a new deck because Risers are that good. They're not tier 1 anymore, but they're still very, very good. So now we're in a pretty weird situation, I would say, where we're like, we would need to retire our starter, but what we can also do is call this Compass Lion and put the starter skill on him, and then basically retire it with our Vanguard skill and draw ourselves an extra card. So we kind of filter more, but we're open to more aggro, but he's not going to be able to do too much to us next turn. And we have a lot of grade 3s to employ, so I think I might actually go for that play. We can filter a little bit, maybe draw into something clutch, and I think that's pretty good. Of course, we're in a pretty risky spot here to, you know, if he checks one trigger and we don't check a trigger, we don't hit. So maybe, you know, in hindsight, could have just retired the starter and gone for a more aggressive play because now I basically don't hit anymore. But then this would have been a 1 to pass anyway, so I guess it's okay. Works out regardless. Now we need to just pop for the Vanguard. Leopald, not Leopald, Compass Line. I always mix up their names, man. Alright, starter skill draws the Hamsuke, that's good. I did want to see that Hamsuke, absolutely. That's pretty good. So now next turn we can basically go into the Locks, and then Locks, then call out one of the Leopolds and a Hamsuke, and then give the Lock skill here, and then Leopold can power up here. So it's pretty good. That works out. We have 2 combos to work with, and then we can basically push them quite a lot. We do need to draw into perfect. Yes, good timing, good timing, good timing. Very good timing. Alright, so we're going to ride the Locks here. We're going to keep one Leopold in hand for next turn. And then basically call it out like this. And then use the Lock skill to power up this Leopold. So he is going to go bye-bye, but we do need to give him the crit. This is going to be a 21k column. And then plus 4k, so going to be 25. So definitely going to be hitting over all kinds of defensives. So even if he goes to 18 here, that's pretty good for me. Gets a draw, or we get a draw, not he gets a draw. We get a Lamp Camel, which is also really, really good. Our hand's going to be really healthy next turn. We get a heal. That's even bigger. This is going to be like a 1 to 4. This is going to be really bad for our opponent to come back from. He needs to bet on some heals as well to come back because it's pretty yikes. So we're going to push him with a crit. Put the power on the Hamsuke. So this is a huge 35k attack. We're just going to put him to 4 damage. So he needs to see a heal here. Does he? Oh, it doesn't, but a lot of grade 2s have disappeared. And we can just basically trigger things. I actually misplayed there. No, actually it's fine. It doesn't draw, so it's okay. So now we're going to get 2 Hamsukes out of this. So he's going to search 1 and a 2. So it's pretty good. We're up to a 5-card hand, and for next turn looking pretty good. We have rears. We need to stay on Locks if anything, but I prefer not to. So he's going to go into the perfect Riser here. Gotta see that beautiful new animation. That's completely reworked, I believe, as well. Gets to count +2 to search himself well, create himself, basically, a Battle Riser. And now he needs to cool down. I think just 2 Risers are enough for the skill to suck them in and get himself the 23k base with that extra static crit. In terms of grade 2s, though, our opponent has shown us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 already. 5 of his 13 grade 2s are gone, which is pretty good for us. So here, basically, he's going to push us quite a bit. This does negate this attack, but now he's going to basically be giving us Limit Break, which is also pretty good because now we can like use our power-up skills like as much as we want to without much risk. So that's pretty good. That rearguard will not be hitting whatsoever, and instead we're going to be getting draws and going to Limit Break. So I definitely like that. Get more grade 2s, also good. We whiff a heal, but I don't actually mind that too much because I do want to rely on Leopold's Limit Break a little bit here. So he's going to attack just to put back this Battle Riser back to deck to get another shot at a defensive and draw a card. So of course that could be a perfect card that he draws into, so that's also pretty big. Alright, so we're going to ride the Leopold. Now I need to think out this turn, because we can either go for a more defensive play, or we can go for like restands and stuff with this. But I need to think about Lamp Camel. I definitely want to call, because basically what we can do is, let me think about it. We can make a 21k column with this, so we can make a 16k column with this, we can make a 15k column with this, so it kind of depends on his defensives. But thing is, the Lamp Camel will basically hit rear here, and then we can swing. Let's see, what am I actually powering up here? I'm going to play it out like this. Oh no, this should have gone there. This is kind of bad actually, that was not... That booster was not where I wanted to put it, so I might actually not play it out like this. This is not... I might actually call the perfect guard down, but he might have a bunch in hand, so I don't know. Because basically what I can do is go this, and then this, and then this to Vanguard, and this to Vanguard. So I think it's worth the risk. I'll risk it for a biscuit. I don't know if I recommend this play to those of you at home. I should have used the Limit Break there as well. Actually, no, I don't need to. So we're going to draw one, see what it gets us. A Otter, would have liked that a bit earlier, but that's okay. And so here we're going to get to do the restand. Okay, good. So now, okay, everything kind of works out. So now we need to swing with Leopold first to power up the Hamstay column. So this one with the Lamp Camel. Man, I'm like getting nervous and stuff. Alright, if we can check a stand, it'd be pretty hot too. We don't, but that's okay. There's going to be one perfect card. Does he have the second one? Does my aggressive play work out, or will I get punished for it? Let's take a look. Okay, it hits, but does he heal? That's another question we have to ask ourselves. I think he's seen 3 heals already. He does not, and we're going to take it. The risk with the PG was worth it, but that was a... Man, that was more of a gut feeling risk than a calculated risk, so keep that in mind. But man, what a good game. We're legend up as well. As you can see, I'm really taking it easy this season after going ham last season with Azel. But yeah, Legend 5. Absolutely great. We get ourselves the Dungaree sleeves, and, you know, get to show off Great Nature. So Great Nature is really, really good. Honestly, I feel like it's a strong contender. It's like, you can even take it to tournaments, and I know some people do. And so I'm personally really happy with the deck. I never really... The only time I played Great Nature was in, after one of the Fighters collection where the Chat Noir Stride came out. And then I played Great Nature quite a lot back then because I really liked the idea of just like drawing a lot and having a very flexible field that you can like basically replace and tutor grade 3s and things like that. But of course that's a little bit in the future for those of you that haven't kept up with the game. But yeah, Great Nature is really, really fun. Simply being able to filter a lot through your deck, being able to draw a lot of cards and like kind of self-replace a lot of your resources is really fun. I do recommend this 5-draw 4-stand build, simply because some of those random stands will come in really clutch. And basically it's like if you don't have 2 Leopolds in hand, then you put them back so you can rely on the stands. But if you have 2 Leopolds in hand, you kind of give up on the stands and then you instead take that crit. So like we saw, this was a really good game because, or like, I'm really proud of how we showed off this deck because game 1, we showed the strength of the locks, you know, that extra crit that he gives to one of your columns. And then in the game 2, we got to show how Leopold's like ability to just like maneuver power all around the board together with the Kangaroo restand comes in really handy. So honestly, Really nice feature. Honestly, Great Nature is super strong in my opinion. Not tier 1, but a solid tier 2. So definitely solid tier 2 and especially really good in the right hands. And I personally do recommend this build quite a lot. There are some numbers you can kind of mess around with. Some people play only 3 Hamsuke, but I personally like 4 because as you saw in game 2, you can like draw into 2 early and then you don't get the full search. But you do want to filter, like I like playing 4 because the more you filter out the Hamsukes from your deck, the more you basically get to just, you know, drawing to better cards later on. So it's pretty good. Deck's pretty good and definitely very fun, so do give it a try if you want to. But on that note, that's going to be it for me today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.